Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Ox Talks. It's Friday, February 9th, 2024. Hope you guys are having a great end of your week. Hope you have some big and productive plans for the weekend. I missed yesterday because I was conducting a deposition in a construction dispute case. I thought it might have finished early and I would be able to get something posted for everybody. That did not happen. The deposition went all day, and I was had to get out of here, in the evening to go to a function for a client of mine. So it was a long day. I hope all of you are doing well. I saw some stories today I will share with you, and I titled the video "The Curtain is Coming Down" because the information I'm going to share with you today, obviously it deals with the economy and more importantly the consumers. But I titled the video this because I don't see how this ends well. I don't see how Americans are going to dig out of the situation that they have put themselves in, because I don't see the jobs growing. I don't see the wages keeping up with the cost of everything else that we're paying for. So it seems to me that it's a hole that keeps getting dug deeper and deeper. Before I start the meat and potatoes of the video and share the articles with you, I want to thank you for subscribing to this channel. I appreciate the community we're building here. I love the comments. They're very intelligent, most of them, and I like the interaction you guys are having with one another too. So let's continue to build on this nice platform that they're creating here. Please like and also share the videos with all of your family and friends so people can understand that this dose of reality is just needed. Is it doom and gloom? No. Is it depressing, some of the news? Absolutely. But it is reality. And so it's more important that we're all awake and we all see what's happening, as opposed to just reading headlines and looking at the mainstream media, who basically we know fudges the numbers. We know that they manipulate the data so that they can continue to pull the wool over people's eyes that are blindly accepting the stuff that's put out there. I know that those watching this channel are not in that group, but we need to take this information in and then share it with as many people as we possibly can. So again, thank you. So article out of the Zero Hedge today I saw. This is very, very important, and it's just symptomatic of the way the consumer's mindset continues to operate in our society today in America. And the title of the article is "Credit Card and Auto Delinquencies Soar, Especially Age Group 18 to 39." It says credit card debt surged to a record high in the fourth quarter. Even more troubling is the steep decline, it says, in 90-day or longer delinquencies. Let me leave your comment below. But look, if you are 90 days late on a bill, my position there is that it's not going to get paid. If you're not going to be able to, obviously, if you're in that situation, catch up 90 days of payments and continue on with your current obligations. Basically, those appear to be headed for write-offs, write-downs, lawsuits, and for the consumers that ran up those bills, probably bankruptcy. So this says aggregate household debt balances increased by $212 billion in the fourth quarter of 2023, a 1.2% rise from the third quarter of 2023. Balances now stand at $17.5 trillion and have increased by $3.4 trillion, it says, since the end of 2019, just before the pandemic recession. It says mortgage balances shown on consumer credit reports increased by $112 billion during the fourth quarter of 2023 and stood at $12.25 trillion at the end of December of last year. Balances on home equity lines of credit, we've discussed this before, increased by $11 billion, the seventh consecutive quarterly increase after quarter one in 2022. So people continue to use their homes as piggy banks. We did a video on that months ago. They continue to draw out the equity for whatever, whether it's discretionary spending or whether it is spending for things that are necessary. Either way, they are jeopardizing their homes by doing that. It says, and there's now $360 billion in aggregate outstanding HELOC loan balances. Credit card balances, which are now at $1.13 trillion, increased by $50 billion or 4.6%. Auto loan balances increased by $12 billion, constituting the upward trajectory that has been in place since the second quarter of 2020 and now stands at $1.61 trillion. These are all T's, trillions, not billions, not millions. How does this debt ever going to be repaid? It says other balances, which include retail cards and other consumer loans, grew by $25 billion. Student loan balances were effectively flat with a $2 billion increase and stand at $1.6 trillion. In total, non-housing balances grew by $89 billion. Student loans are frozen because the government continues to find ways to create gimmicks, repayment gimmicks, or pauses, or deferment, or forbearances, so these things don't show late for the data. It says credit card debt rose to a new record high. Even more troubling, though, it says, is the surge in serious delinquencies defined as 90 days or more. And for nearly all age groups, serious delinquencies are the highest since, listen to this, highest since 2011. That's 13 years ago. We're going back to find a time where delinquencies were this high. It says serious delinquencies on auto loans have jumped from under 3% in mid-2021 up to 5% at the end of 2023 for age groups 18 to 29. And it says the age groups of 30 to 39 is also troubling. Serious delinquencies for age groups 18 to 29 and 30 to 39 are at the highest level since 2010. And again, go back, research it for yourself. You can see what was happening in 2010. The economy was in free fall. So look at delinquencies are hitting the groups of people, the 18 to 29 and 30 to 39. So 18 to basically 40 years old. Those are the wage earners. Those are the ones who are supposed to be the most productive out, even starting their careers, but certainly when you're in your 30s and 40s, you're underway in your chosen career path or field, and those people are not making it. They're not making their payments. They're defaulting. They're going 90 days late if they continue to borrow and continue to spend. It says, other than mortgages, the data is very recessionary. Consumers are struggling to maintain lifestyles, and they're using credit cards to do so, it says. And sorry if I hit the microphone. And it says the jobs picture is not rosy either if anyone bothers to drill into the data instead of touting the headline numbers. We talked about the jobs, the recent BLS jobs report from a week and a half ago. It says people are taking on multiple jobs. Well, let me address this data point. It says payrolls are up by 5.77 million since May 2022, but full-time employment is up only 457,000, and that's the point. It says people are taking on multiple jobs or coming out of retirement to take part-time jobs because they're struggling to make ends meet. So where does this debt spiral end? I'm not so sure that it does end. I think it just continues to keep getting worse. More consumers keep digging themselves into deeper holes that they will not be able to extract themselves from. So we'll continue to watch this play out. But it appears to be a barn burner with consumer debt. The next article talks about layoffs again. It came out just this afternoon on the Hedge. Cisco to fire thousands, adding to the fire hose of tech layoffs since beginning of 2024. We've dealt with this in several shows over the past several weeks. I'll continue to address this because I believe that if you can find a way to start your own business, to become your own boss, even if it's starting a side gig, where you can start to generate some revenues outside of your regular paycheck you're getting from a boss and you're dependent on from somebody that you have no control over. You could be the hardest working person in the office. And guess what? If the company comes into troubles or there's a sea change with regard to the ownership, or they decide they want to cut positions because they want to get their stock price bolstered, all these things can happen Key man dies if it's in a smaller business or a mom and pop operation, and guess what? You find yourself without a job. So if you can create a scenario for yourself to build your own business, start something small, start something without leveraging in, do not get into debt to do it. And I think you'll find if you need to have this peace of mind, which if you work for somebody else, I think you absolutely need to consider it. There are really no downsides if you do it smart. Are you going to be working a little bit harder? Sure. Are you have to get off of your regular job and maybe work on your side hustle a bit? Yes. But if you need that extra income because something unforeseen happens, an emergency or a layoff, like a health issue, you'll be glad that you listened to this piece of advice. I've owned my own business for about 30 years now, and like I've said on very many videos in the past, or several videos in the past, it could be more stressful than clocking in and clocking out. By all means, you're constantly on the clock. You're constantly responding to customers or clients or patients, but it gives you a certain freedom that you know that you can generate the revenues and income that you need to take care of your family and your obligations. So let's delve into this article. It says, according to Reuters, Cisco will lay off thousands of employees as part of a business restructuring which seeks to focus on high growth areas, such as AI and Chat GPT, of course. It says the San Jose-based company, which has a total employee count of 84,900, not a small company, says it's still deciding on the total number of employees to be affected by the layoffs, but it will certainly be substantial, this article says. The official announcement will likely come next week when the company has its earnings call on February the 14th. Cisco joins dozens. Oh, that'll be a great Valentine's Day present. You'll get notice via email or via Zoom that you've been terminated. Cisco joins dozens of other tech companies which have started 2024, a year when supposedly the economy is booming. Again, if we listen to the mainstream, if we look at the trumped up labor statistics and job numbers, one might believe that. It says, prior to Cisco, Snap and DocuSign became the latest examples, announcing earlier this week that they are reducing their workforce by about 10% and 6% respectively. So 10% for Snap and 6% for DocuSign. And then this article lays out a list of the companies and the cuts that were made, the job loss numbers. And I want to run through this list because when you see it and you just hear it, consecutively, it's very impactful, I believe. It's very sad for those people that lost their jobs. But I think that it's important that we continue to hear this. So let me read the list. Twitch, 35% of the workforce, gone. Roomba, 31% of the workforce, gone. Hansbro, 20% of the workforce. LA Times, 20% of the workforce. Spotify, 17% of the workforce. Levi's, 15% of the workforce. Xerox, 15% of the workforce. Qualtrics, 14% of the workforce. I'm going to keep going. It's an amazing list. Wayfair, 13%. Duolingo, 10% of the workforce. Washington Post, 10%. Snap, 10% of the workforce. eBay, 9% of the workforce. Business Insider, 8% of the workforce. PayPal, 7% of the workforce. Okta, 7% of the workforce. Charles Schwab, 6%. DocuSign, 6%. UPS, 2%. BlackRock, 3%, Citigroup, 20,000 employees, and Pixar, 1,300 employees. These are tens of thousands of jobs, folks. So where are we heading with this? We will see. Time will tell. Is the Federal Reserve going to be able to pull a rabbit out of a hat and all of a sudden reverse engineer all this and start drastically cutting rates? And would that even make such a huge difference? If you're 90 days late on your credit cards, or your credit cards are maxed out, or your home equity line of credit is maxed out, I don't know what else you have. Where are the other lifelines going to be? So with that being said, again, sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It's just we need to understand what's going on. Please, maybe this weekend, well, number one, work on being as prepared as possible. We talked about, the get-home bags, the 3-day bags, having resources, having some money set aside, I'm just covering broad spectrum items here just to remind you that during the weekends, if you have some additional time, it makes sense to shore up your planning, shore up your preps, go through and change flashlight batteries and just deal with stuff like that. It's not fun to do. Maybe work on your security, work on your training. And of course, lastly, like every day, get your workouts in. Please work on your strength training, your cardiovascular health, get your steps in, do some walking, even a half an hour a day makes a huge difference. And the diet is a major, major component. You have to do this in connection with a healthy diet. So let's try to continue to make ourselves better every day, stronger, more fortified, more resilient from a financial perspective, having a backup plan, having some cash set aside, having 3 or 6 months of reserves in the bank in case you are one of these that received walking papers in the last couple of months, and there's going to be a whole lot more, I think, unfortunately. With that being said, I'll be leaving here to get my workout in about an hour. I should be able to touch base with all of you tomorrow. I'll be keeping watch on everything that's unfolding, and have a great night. Bye.